Wondering how to set up a 20 by 20 high peak cross cable tent? We're here to help you out. We're gonna go step by step on exactly how to set up these tents for parties and events and things like that. Today we've got Chris with me, BounceWave, awesome BounceWave, Chris with BounceWave, and we've got more Bounce Party Rentals, the guys from here. They actually drove over because they wanted a little bit more of an in-depth look at how to get these set up. They're looking to get it really into the tent business and get it moving on top of their inflatables. So we're gonna go step by step. We'll start right now just kind of by giving you a visual of how we have our equipment set up. So when you get to your job, you're gonna have your set of poles, and a 20 by 20 is gonna have only one set of poles. We brought two out because we're gonna be cleaning tents soon, but as you can see, we keep our poles organized and we really enjoy doing it. We don't enjoy it, but it's very efficient to do it this way. With the ratchet straps, as you see, you just stack them up, get two ratchets, put them around. It makes them easy to carry because you can carry them by the ratchet straps, two people or one person, throw them in your truck, trailer, anything like that, or your box truck, and they'll stay nice and together. We use barrels to hold all of our stakes, all of our fittings, the cables, and then we'll put the tent top inside of the barrel for transport. So then we bring out our barrel that has all of the fittings and stakes in it, and then of course our tops with the bag. So now you're here at your job, you're ready to get set up. You've established with the customer where they want to put it. You've established there's no utility lines or anything like that around there, and then you'll get started. All right, so first you're gonna set up with your legs, and you'll have three sets or three types of poles in your pole set for this tent. So the first of them is going to be your center mast, which is gonna be the pole that looks a little bit different than the others because it's gonna have the clip on the bottom and your peak at the top. Then you'll have your 96-inch, the shorter ones, 8 feet legs, right here, those four. And then you're gonna have your 111-inch spreader bars, which will make the top frame. And then, so you'll start with your 96-inch legs, four of those. And as you see, Chris is gonna start in the corners. So basically you're gonna be making a big square. So put these legs protruding out from your corner. And you don't have to be spot on with this. You're gonna kind of guess. You're gonna kind of guess at where your corners will be. Now you've got your four legs set out on the assumed corners here. Next, you will go to your 111-inch spreader bars. So come on over here, we'll grab those. And we're gonna show you guys that this can easily be done with two people. As I'm talking you through it, you'll see it'll just be Chris and Quentin actually setting it up. So there will be two spreader bars per side. And you'll connect these spreader bars by the T fitting, which we'll take out in just a few moments. But you'll see Chris and Quentin are setting out two spreader bars per side on all four sides. And this will give you a little bit better clarity onto where your legs are gonna go. So now that you've got your base frame laid out, you're gonna then start working on putting your fittings together. So you'll start with your spreaders here that will connect your 111-inch spreader bars in the middle of each piece. So they're gonna join those two together, as you see that they're doing here. And there will be a total of four spreaders that you'll connect on each side, one per each side. Now that you have your spreaders on to in the middle, joining each of the spreader pieces, you'll then move on to your corner fittings. So you'll go to the corners, and one thing to pay attention to is the way that you actually orientate the corner fitting. So when you set it down, This hook needs to be facing up towards you. So that way you can put your cables on here. So whenever you put your fitting on, always make sure that the hook side is facing up in the air towards you. So you see how they're doing it over here. There you go. Now that you got your base frame laid out with your corner fittings and your spreaders inserted, you'll then move on to your cross cables. You'll have 2 of these in a set, and so Quentin and Chris will show you how this goes. Basically, it's going to go from one corner diagonally over to the other opposite corner. So you're at the corner here, your opposite diagonal for your first cable. These cables are going to be very tight and they're supposed to hold tension because that's what holds the peak up. So on this first cable, when you come down here, the trick to getting this cable on, you're not going to be able to do it with brute strength. You're just going to lift it up as much as you need to be able to hook it on just like that and set it down. So now your first cable is on. Go ahead with the second cable, guys. The second cable, of course, will go to the other 2 opposite ends. So you'll go one side, and then this one's gonna get pretty tight. So you're gonna have to lift this one pretty high up, right at about chin height, usually, and slowly drop it down. And you'll see that the tension has formed on these cables, and you're ready to move on to the next step, which will be the canopy. All right, so now you're ready to go ahead and put your top onto the canopy onto the frame. So it should be folded and rolled whenever you take one down, take it out of the bag, and you're gonna set it on one side. And if you can remember the last time you put it away, which way you folded it and which way the roll is gonna be, use that to determine where it goes. But in the end, at the end of the day, if you unroll it and it's not exactly right, they're easy enough to lift up and just rotate however you need. So guys, go ahead and show them. You're gonna unroll. Now the top and the bottom are gonna have 2 different looks. So the top of the tent's always gonna have this glossy, shiny finish on the top. The bottom will have more of a matte finish for you. So that's how you can determine the differences. So you'll start to unfold it as they're doing now. So they unrolled it here and they found that the bottom glossy side, the top side, is actually sitting on the bottom. So they're just gonna simply flip it over and then pull it over. Not a big deal. All right, so you have your top laid out on each corner. Now you're gonna find at the bottom side of the top is gonna be these loops here. There's gonna be 3 shorter loops like this and then 1 longer loop that you'll save for last. So Quentin is taking this loop and he's putting it around this eyelet right here. Put it around the eyelet and go to the bottom, and then you'll move over to your next corner, which will be another short loop. Not the long loop yet, but another short loop. And as you start to go around the corners, you'll notice it's gonna get a little bit tighter. So now he has his 3 shorter primary loops done around the eyelets, and now he's gonna move to the longest, the lead loop is what I call it. So what Blaine is doing right now, before you get to your final lead loop, which will be the most tension, you're gonna wanna take the material of the top and the middle and pull it out as much as possible before you start here. So now Quentin has the long final loop here. You're gonna pull down pretty hard towards you and down to then wrap it around your eyelet. And there you go. It's on, it's secured. Now your top is secured to each corner around the eyelets, and you're ready for the next step. All right, so now you're ready to start erecting your legs underneath the frame. So you're gonna start on one side of the tent. You see Blaine here is gonna take one arm, lift it up as high as you can, and slide the leg right underneath, and let it slide all the way down. Then Quentin's gonna start on this side. And there you go. So now that you have one side set up, you're now ready to go and put your center mast, which creates your high peak, in the middle. You're gonna wanna do this with only 2 legs in, because that's the way you're gonna be able to reach the cables and get it pushed up into the slot. So before you put your center mast on, there are gonna be 2 quick checks you need to do before you erect this thing. So the first thing is gonna be, you just saw Quentin here, you're gonna go around to the middle of each side, and you're gonna get this clip, and you're gonna put this clip around the top of the pole and clip it in. That way you can do it while it's still semi on the ground and reach it and not have to get a ladder to do it later. The next check you're gonna do, which is very important, is notice how this corner is split. If this thing was to stand up all the way, there's no way I'd be able to get this corner down. So while it's still on 2 legs, I'm gonna grab this corner and I'm gonna make sure that both flaps are down. These 2 D-rings are down here, because that way later when I go to tie on my strap, I'm ready to go. I don't have to worry about trying to jump up there and grab it. And you're gonna go around to each corner and do this when you have the 2 legs right before you install the mast. Another step you're gonna do before you put on your mast is installing your main wide lanyard here with this heavy duty galvanized locking clip, carabiner clip. So you're gonna take this strap with the ratchet on it, and you're gonna take one side with the hose or the hole, the loop, put it on like this, and you're gonna go to your corner, and remember that eyelet we talked about whenever they are pulling the canopy loop over. You're gonna take this, and you're gonna go ahead and hook it on here and tighten it up. You'll do this same thing for each corner before you put your mast on and your other legs on. That way it's easily accessible from the ground. And at this point, you're ready to go ahead and install your center mast. So this will be the last pole that's left. It's got the smaller metal pole at the top. And so what they're doing right now is they are finding the little hole that the peak goes through. So you're gonna go ahead and push that through. Now here's where you can make this job really hard or not hard at all. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to the bottom, as Blaine is doing right here, and you're gonna see this clip. You're gonna make sure it's either folded back or you can undo it. I would just fold it back like this so it stays intact.
Show the importance of...
And you're gonna have your grooves here that you see. So what you'll do is you will start and line your grooves up on one cable, and you're gonna slide it down like they're doing. Slide it down all the way until you get to the middle. Press down and fit the other cable in the opposite grooves, just as Blaine did, so it'll make a perfect cross. Then you're gonna take your clip, just like he did, go around the bottom of it and clip it to this side. That's another anchoring measure. So one important point to pay attention to when you're putting your mast on and sliding it down the cables is when we started with the mast here and Blaine took it from here and slid it all the way down, you need to make sure that the cable that you choose is the one that is sitting on top. So don't pick this cable because it's underneath and it won't let you slide all the way. So you're gonna wanna pick the cable that is on top to set the pole here and slide it all the way down to then push it up. Now you've got your peak up and you're ready to install or erect the other 2 legs. So next you're gonna install the final 2 legs, and the best method we've found to do, which everybody has their own method when doing this, is each person grabs the corner and lifts up while you both go ahead and slide that pole under on one corner, just like this. And they'll do the same thing here. One person with one hand will lift up with an assistance. And there you go. So you don't have to necessarily have a ladder when you do this. You can do it just by thinking logically. So the next step, once you got all 4 legs on, the mast on, and the canopy on, is gonna be the canopy lanyard itself. So you're not gonna mess with this wide one just yet that's gonna go to the stake or the barrel. You're gonna leave this alone. You're actually gonna grab, Blaine's showing you here, this smaller canopy anchoring lanyard. So you're gonna have 2 pieces, it'll come in 2 pieces. One's gonna be the lead end and then one's gonna be the ratchet end. And you can watch Blaine here, you're gonna undo it. And before you put this onto your ratchet, you're actually going to take your 2 metal loops right here, and you're gonna take this lead end, blank eyes here, and go through the looped end and go ahead and pull it tight. And you see that makes a nice, easy little, not slip knot, but some sort of little knot. And you pull it together to get these as close as possible. Then you'll move on to the lead section into the back of the ratchet strap. Go through the slot and then over the top. Go ahead and get about to where you're gonna connect to the hook on the feet down there. And once you're right about there, you see Blaine kind of guided it on. He'll tighten it up some, and then he'll go ahead and start ratcheting it down. So once you're ratcheting this down, it will naturally pull this, these two sides down and together with your Velcro right here, and these two loops will come together, and then you'll be able to just simply fold this over and connect all the way up to the top. You'll do the same exact thing for the next 4 corners, or next 3 corners. All right, so now that you've got the actual canopy anchoring tightened down through the loops down and connected to the feet, the hooks on the feet down there, on all 4 sides, you are then ready to go ahead and actually anchor the frame of the tent down. So this strap here anchors the top down to the structure, and this wider strap and this bigger ratchet assembly is going to actually hold your structure down. Extremely important to pay good attention, take good care when you're doing this. So on these big wider straps here, and pretend we are on grass. I know we are on concrete, but pretend we're on grass. Your set's going to come with 2 sets of stakes. This one is going to be the one that you use for these wider straps right here. So what you're going to do is you're gonna find your loop end, and a general rule of thumb is I usually don't like to go outside of this corner more than about 2 feet. You only need about 2 feet here to about here, and that's where you will then put this on. And this is in concrete, so I can't do it here, but if I was in grass, I would just like put some pressure on it to where the stake can kind of stand on its own like this. Once you have this standing on its own, or you can lay it down, for these purposes, you'll go ahead and open up your ratchet assembly to go ahead and tighten about where you need to be. So let's pretend about here, and I'm gonna stake in. Make sure that's secure. And then you're gonna recommend definitely getting a sledgehammer. You can use a regular hammer, it's gonna take a long time. These are very thick tent stakes, and they're long, and you're gonna have to drive these in really far. You wanna get, usually I like to have no more than this much sticking out, because this right here is what is holding this tent down. This is what gets its pretty high wind rating as storm comes through. This is gonna be the key right here to holding it down. So you don't, unlike a lot of people think, and the myths out there about you should angle it like this. Watch some of the videos on tent anchoring, and a lot of the experts in the industry that have been around it for 35 years will tell you this is not right, because this, when it pulls, the torque here, or not the torque, but the pressure here, can easily then pull up the ground and make the tent stake fly out easier. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go pretty much straight down at maybe a slight angle in the back. And so I have this sitting here like this. I take my sledgehammer, bam, bam, bam. And like I said, I wouldn't stick more than about to here out of the ground. So you'll do the same thing with these longer tent stakes on each corner. And then next we'll move on to the interior J stakes. All right, so now you've got your main frame tent stakes. This is a simulation because we're on concrete, but these are, all 4 corners are anchored in. You've got the loops on, they look right. Nothing is loose, you don't have it hanging way out. Once you have all 4 of those secured into place, you'll then take these J stakes here, take your sledgehammer, and you'll put this in right here, and you'll just hit it down until this right here is touching here. So you're gonna go all the way down until you feel these 2 meet, and you're gonna do that on all 4 sides. Once you have that, I always take a look around, make sure everything's buttoned up, make sure I don't see any crazy stains on it to wipe it down. Go grab the customer, make sure that it looks good to them. Other than that, get your stuff that you've taken out to help set up, get it back in your truck. Make sure you always organize and compartmentalize your parts. So if you have like a strap box like we do, we have a little box or a bucket that we separate our straps that we put them into to help them stay clean, because they are white straps, and separating them keeps them all together so you don't lose them, and it also helps keep them clean. So compartmentalizing your different parts and keeping it into like one large bucket, almost like we do, is what we found to be the best method to do it. But other than that, this is how you set up our 20 by 20 high peak tent. We do have these tents in stock. They are at a crazy deal right now, $17.95. Just some quick math for you right now. Our tents are renting like crazy for our rental company at $349 a day, and we are by far the lowest price on that. Our competitors around us are all at around $399. So do some quick mental math and you'll see how fast you can return that $17.95. And I'm not kidding you when I say these tents go out a ton. We have an entire rental company that's based on tables and chairs and tents, and our main source of revenue and bookings are going to be those tents, and they outdo everything else by leaps and bounds. So 20 by 20 high peak tent, easy to do, 2 people to set up. Once you get good at it, just like anything, it does take practice, right? The first time, give yourself an hour to set it up. The second time, it'll probably cut down to 35 minutes. And at this point, when we go out there and do it, if there's 2 guys and they both know what they're doing, we can get one set up in under 15 minutes. So give us a call. Again, $17.95 in stock now. That price is not going to stay that price forever. We will go up soon. So visit BounceWave.com or give us a call, 1-888-901-9283, and we'll get you taken care of and answer any questions that you have. Thanks.
Buy what rents.